Ask Sessions, and we are back with Francesca O'Connor, artist manager, PR consultant, all-round guru. How you doing, Francesca?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've come here to pick all of the great information out of your brain to share with all of the people who are watching the Ask Sessions at the moment, and we're going to be talking to you about the concept of breaking Ireland. I mean, it's always been quite a difficult one, considering obviously the border, and the fact that we have two different types of media as well, which has always contributed to there being a very awkward journey between the north and the south. Do you have any advice on how to build your network around Ireland? Like, how to get out to speak to people, how to reach out to people. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you're right. It is strange how like there is such a divide between the two. But it's amazing because it's really kind of been this last year that I probably made the most connections. Like oddly, even though we haven't been able to meet up in person, it's actually easier than ever to kind of meet people online now and like kind of see what everyone else is about. Like I'm based up north, and that's where like many of the artists I work with are based too. But we have like good connections in the south as well, just from getting to know people. Like first of all, just kind of actually wanting to get to know people, as opposed to I'm just talking to you because I want something from you. Which can kind of come across like kind of misconstrued sometimes. So I've actually like met with like other artist managers online, and there's about maybe a group chat of like 20 female artist managers across the north and south, who are all kind of chatting together, and we're all sort of like supporting each other's releases, and we're kind of kept up to date on like what opportunities are coming up. So kind of actually reaching out to people who are maybe doing a similar thing to you are, and just kind of help each other in that way, because there's opportunities down south that you might hear about unless you kind of have someone there with their ear to the ground. So yes, just kind of reaching out to people online is probably the best way right now. Like thankfully gigs and festivals and events and stuff are coming back, and it's going to be even better to try and meet people then. So it is really important just to kind of have those connections on people on the ground.
It's a really old school concept. It's kind of like almost like a DC hardcore punk concept of the gig swap. I'll come play your hometown if you let me come play your hometown. Is that something that still exists in 2021?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, kind of it's the best way to get started from very first level. Like if you're playing like your first gig, your second gig, it's the best way to kind of actually get to know venues as well, and from people who are there. It's so much easier to kind of make those contacts with someone who's also in a similar genre to your similar level to you are. So you're playing to the audience that will actually be right for you. So it's definitely the best way to get started in a live sense for sure.
Is it important to do research? And how important is it to do research, and how deep do you really need to go if you want to go and play in Dublin or Cork or Limerick or Galway?
Yeah, it's mega important. You're saving yourself a lot of time by doing this that wee bit of research in the first place, and it can kind of prevent like awkward conversations with like the venue manager or the booker somewhere else kind of away down the line, just by actually taking a moment to kind of research, well, what capacity is right for me right now. Realistically, yeah, we'll want to be playing to 500 people or 750 people, but really, are you at that stage yet? So actually taking the time to research different venues across the north and south, just to really what's going to be the best fit for you, because you'd rather have a smaller venue that's packed out with a smaller amount of people. It looks better rather than having a big room that's kind of looks half empty. So kind of doing the research is really, really important. And also like in terms of genre as well, you don't want to be playing in a venue that's maybe known for rock and punk, but you're actually a synth pop artist. So just genre wise, it's important as well.
What are the main sort of media outlets that you should be focusing on as like a new artist in the south of Ireland? Like I would like imagine the majority of people who be watching this are from Northern Ireland, and we can sort of tell you if you're from the south watching this. This is not geo locked. Like you can be watching this from Peru, but from the perspective of somebody from Northern Ireland, like who should they be approaching down south?
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest publications, and the ones that are the real tastemakers probably be the likes of Nile 9, the last mixtape, Golden Plaque, gosh, yes, Hot Press, obviously, Journal of Music. Like there's so many down south who are actually really supportive of the ones up north as well. I know, like you might think, oh, but I'm not from there. They don't know me. They don't care. But like they're so supportive from what's happening up north as well. And they're, we've built like really good connections with the blogs as well as radio. We have like John Barker, who's on Totally Irish, have Dan Haggerty, Tara Stewart, Paul McLean. Like there's so many here, like on the radio as well, who are championing Northern Irish music, and it's and they're welcoming it as well. They're not these kind of people who sort of turn you away. Like, and they're brilliant with actually giving feedback as well, and to say, you know what, this actually isn't right for my show, but if you reach out to this person, that'll be better suited. So they're very, very helpful as well. You shouldn't feel intimidated to not approach people. These are people who are actually actively looking for new music to play. And we have so much of it up here that it's important that we share it, far from Northern Ireland. It's important to kind of to spread it far and wide.
I'm pretty sure I've been in this situation before when I was like 17, but like, how do you go about getting a gig in Dublin?
Yeah, well,
I know like this could be like, anywhere. This could be like Wexford or Galway or Tuam or wherever. But, when the bigger venues and the places that the bands generally want to play tend to be like the Derrys and the Belfast and the Dublins. How does a band from Oma go and get a gig in Dublin?
Yeah, well, so like it's kind of like we were saying earlier, just doing your research first. So kind of like looking around and see, well, which venue's actually right for me, and getting to know, well, what kind of gigs do they put on, and at what level are their artists? Are they kind of championing those sort of emerging artists, where their fee is kind of more in the realms of where you are, like at that stage in your career, that you'll actually be able to make something of it as well. So actually reaching out to the appropriate venue, get to know the booker or the venue manager, and just let them listen to your music and kind of say, this is what I'm doing at the minute, and kind of big yourself up as well. Say like this is kind of what my plan is for the year, and kind of make it worth their while taking you on as well.
That's perfect, Francesca. Thank you so much for filling us in with all of your pearls of wisdom. You're an absolute legend and a credit to your parish.
As are you, Phil. As are you.